will show the presence of the jury, the defendant, and all counsel. Mr. Martinez, you may call the state's next witness.
The state calls Arias.
You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
Your name, sir?
Larry Gladish,
Who do you work for?
Mesa Police Department.
Back in June, just 2008, did you work for the Mesa Police Department?
Yes, I did.
What area?
I was in a homicide unit.
And did you have occasion to assist in the investigation involving the killing of Travis Alexander?
Yes, I did.
And specifically with regard to that, in his telephone, were you tasked or were you assigned to do something with regard to obtaining his voicemail messages from his telephone?
Yes, I was.
And what's the process that you undertook?
I wrote a court order to have the PIN number changed to his voicemail account so I could access the voicemail account.
And what date was that?
That would be June 25th, 2008.
And after that, what did you do? How were you able to access it?
I called the voicemail from my desk phone and I recorded the voicemail messages that were on his account.
Take a look at Exhibit 366. You familiar with this?
Yes, I am.
What are those 2 pages?
They're called detail records.
For what telephone number?
831-402-1901.
You know the name of the person that is associated with that, right?
Yes, I do.
And what's the name that you believe is associated with that number?
Jodi Arias.
And with regard to that particular number and the call log that's involved, was there a call that you were interested in that was on June 4th, 2008 at 11:48 in the evening?
Your Honor, object to this point in the way approach.
With regard to that particular call, did that involve 831-402-1901?
Yes.
And with regard to that call, was there a voicemail that you were able to obtain that was associated with that?
Yes.
Prior to coming to court, did you have occasion to listen to Exhibit 365?
Yes, I did.
And is that the voicemail that was associated with that call that we just referenced?
Yes, sir.
I move for the admission of Exhibit 365.
No objection.
365 is admitted.
Anyway, right about the time you're starting to gear up. I know Leslie called you, so I already talked to her, so you can call her back if you want, but it's not necessary. phone died, so I wasn't getting back to anybody. And what else? Oh, and I drove 100 miles in the wrong direction. Over 100 miles, thank you very much. So yeah, remember New Mexico? It was a lot like that. Only you weren't here to prevent me from going into the 3 digits. So fun. Tell you all about that later. Also, we were talking about, when we were talking about your upcoming travels my way, I was looking at the May calendar, so I'm all confused. But Heather and I are going to see Othello on July 1st, and we would love for you to accompany us. I don't know when Team Freedom's event is, though, but, it's on the list, so we could do Shakespeare, Crater Lake, and the coast. So if you can make it. If not, we'll just do the coast in Crater Lake. But let me know, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.
End of message. To delete this message, press 7. To save it in the archives, press 9. Message will be saved for 21.
With regard to this particular message and reviewing those telephone records that you have in front of you, were you able to determine where the caller was when this call was placed?
The caller would have been about 45 miles north of Kingman and about 27 miles, which is about 27 miles south of the Nevada border, approximately.
I don't have any other questions.
Cross-examination?
Good afternoon, Detective.
Sir?
Couple quick questions for you, sir. Was that the only voicemail that was on Mr. Alexander's phone when you examined it?
Well, I didn't examine the phone. Those are what I downloaded from the voicemail server that Verizon Wireless has, and there was more than one voicemail on there, yes.
Perhaps I ask it inartfully. You retrieved the voicemail, that wasn't the only voicemail?
Correct.
Right, okay. And that wasn't the only phone that, or work that you did in this case, is that correct? You sought out other phone records, didn't you?
Correct.
Okay. As a matter of fact, and have you reviewed your police report recently?
I have.
Okay. You sought out the records of a Dustin Thompson. Do you recall that?
I did.
Okay. And an Ashley Thompson, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And what is your understanding of why you did that?
Objection, hearsay, relevance.
Approach.
Detective, drawing your attention back to the cell phone records of Dustin Thompson and Ashley Thompson. What was your understanding of why you were asked to pull those records?
I don't recall the specifics. I just know that they were named very early on in the investigation as maybe having some knowledge of what occurred.
Okay. And based on that, and who would have directed you to search out those records?
It could have been one of several people. It could have been Detective Flores, my boss, any sergeant. You know, there were several people working the case at that time. As the information comes in, I'm at the office. They call and say, hey, we got some new information. Can you start working this? Okay.
So you were asked by someone else to obtain these records and sought out court orders to get them. Is that correct? Okay. And the voicemail messages, just for our understanding, did you listen to all of them, not just the one we heard in court?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Reader Wright?
I don't have anything, thank you.
Any questions from the jury? It looks like we have one. Counsel, please approach. Juror question is, could you play the voicemail Exhibit 35? I could not hear it.
Message.
Hey, what's going on? It's almost midnight. Anyway, right about the time you're starting to gear up. I know Leslie called you, so I already talked to her, so you can call her back if you want, but it's not necessary. My phone died, so I wasn't getting back to anybody. And what else? Oh, and I drove 100 miles in the wrong direction, over 100 miles, thank you very much. So yeah, remember New Mexico? It was a lot like that, only you weren't here to prevent me from going into the 3 digits, so fun. Tell you all about that later. Also, we were talking about, when we were talking about your upcoming travels my way, I was looking at the May calendar, so I'm all confused. But Heather and I are going to see Othello on July 1st, and we would love for you to accompany us. I don't know when Team Freedom's event is, though, but, you know, it's on the list, so we could do Shakespeare, Crater Lake, and the coast, so if you can make it. If not, we'll just do the coast in Crater Lake. But let me know, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.
End of message. To delete this message, press 7. To save it in the archives, press 9. Message will be saved for 21.
Any other questions from the jury? Any follow-up, counsel?
No, thank you.
Just one quick question, Detective. Do you know the date and time that message was left?
That'll be June 4th at 11:48 p.m.
Okay, and that's based on what you heard in the recording?
No, the phone records.
Okay. And that message, I don't know if you can answer this now, but was that deleted off the voicemail, or was that fresh on the voicemail?
The way you heard it is the way it played on the voicemail when I accessed the voicemail.
Okay, so you didn't have to go into other areas to like check deleted messages or anything, it was just...
Correct. That's the way it played right there.
Okay, but it was just there, it was in the box with a bunch of other messages, right?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
You may step down. The state may call its next witness.
The state recalls Detective Esteban Flores.
Detective, you are still under oath. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
Your name, sir?
Esteban Flores?
And sir, with regard to the handgun that was used in this case, did the police find a handgun back at Mr. Alexander's home?
No, we did not.
Did you attempt to find the handgun?
Yes, we did.
And were you able to find the handgun?
No.
In the knife, was the knife back at the home when the police went through the home?
We never found a knife used.
And did the police attempt to look for the knife?
Yes.
Where did you guys attempt to look for both the knife and the gun?
All through the house, around the house?
How about outside of the house?
Yes.
How about in other places? Did you go to different towns or?
No, we did. Well, we went to Wairika and we attempted to find it there during search warrants that we did there.
Did you have any idea where this knife and gun could possibly be?
No.
Now, sir, we were talking when we left off about conversations that you may have had with the defendant back on June 15th of 2008. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And we left off where there was this issue about photographs, and you were telling her that you were going to show her some photographs, correct?
Yes.
Did you eventually show her some photographs?
Yes, I did.
And does Exhibit 358 describe your conversation with her involving the photographs as you were showing them to her?
Yes.
I move for the admission of Exhibit 358.
No objection.
358 is admitted.
a Glock.
I just bought a gun.
Yeah, Jim? You probably found it by now.
Probably. I was taking it somewhere.
These are just a few photos. And I want to be careful not showing you certain photos
Please
because
don't
some
show
of
me.
them are very bad. That's obviously Travis's house, right? Remember that?
Yeah. If Travis were here today, he would tell you that it wasn't me.
No. My job is to speak for Travis right now. And everything Travis is telling me is that Jodi did this to me. Have you ever shot that .25
Mm-hmm.
You ever touched it?
The one that was stolen? I've never seen it. My grandpa said it looks like a toy gun.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what a 25 looks like. I know what a 22 looks like. And I know
It's
what,
just like a 22, actually.
well, the 22s that I saw kind of looked like the ones in the westerns where they had the barrel and the long, you know. But there was another 22 in this store that looked like a toy gun, so it looked like a squirt gun, like a water gun. I don't know.
I want to know which pictures to show you. Where's that one? Remember him?
Is he naked? In the shower?
Yep. Let's see it. This is
Travis would never go for that.
soon after you and him had sex on his bed.
That couldn't have been too soon after.
An hour or so.
The last time
2
I had sex
hours.
in his bed was an 8.
These come out very good. These are copies of actual photos. That's you. I wanted to cover you up because
Oh,
that's you. All of you.
that looks like me.
That is you. Right there, get out of my face. You can look at the rest of it if you want. There's a few of those. There's a few more. Which I'll try not to show because I don't want to put you out there like that to people. Let's just say I've seen all of you. And I've seen all of Travis. But the one that sticks in my mind of Travis is on the autopsy table. I'm not going to show you that. Or should I? But this one I don't know if I should show you, but nothing bad. Too bad. But it's just one of the photos that was taken by accident. And this is just a small portion of it. It's your foot, Jodi. These are your pants. No, it's off color because we had to enhance it and the color kind of changes a little bit. That's Travis.
This is his bathroom. That is not my foot.
These are your pants. It's a different color, like I said, because we had to enhance it and the color changes. The zipper back.
I have both of those pants at home. If these are the same one. I don't have a zipper there though. Not on mine. And this is a black stripe and this is white and the black goes around the ponytail.
Couldn't even recognize Travis. He'd been there so long.
I keep thinking of Brother Hyatt. I would address him.
No, this is another one. It's just a copy, but it's you. Same day. All time stamped. All everything. First picture. You and Travis. See? The date. 6/4/08 at 5:22 p.m. That's when it started. Photo of you started, in Travis's bedroom, about 1:30, 1:45, something like that.
I don't know what kind of camera he got.
There, see that?
That spot?
See the spots here? They look a different color because we used a chemical to enhance this. That right there is blood. It's a mixture of yours and his. And that's your palm print. Of your left palm.
I don't have any cuts on my left palm.
Nobody said that your cut was on palm. Do you have any recent cuts that are healing?
Well, my cat scratches me. Little things. These are all her work. You can see. This is her. That's her. I've got scars. She's a feral cat. All these little things are her.
Well, enough about your cat, but why is your palm print in blood?
How can that be my palm print?
Because you were there.
What is this?
That's before we used a chemical. We thought we'd get something from there, but this is where your palm print was. Right on the wall. I can go over and over and over again. Over and over again. There's no doubt in my mind that you were there. There's no doubt in my mind that you did this. None. So you can go until you're blue in the face and tell me you weren't there and you had nothing to do with it. I won't believe you. I will not believe it. Because Travis is telling me that you did this to him. That's my job. My job is to speak for him. And this is what he's telling me. And I want to know why. It's killing me inside. I don't know why.
Thing, like, there's no reason for it. There's no reason why. There's no reason I would ever want to hurt him.
There's no way anybody else.
He never raped me.
Nobody.
Never.
There's no way anyone else could have left your palm print in blood on that wall. No way. Get that through your head.
If I was going to ever try to kill somebody, I would use gloves. I've got plenty of them.
Nobody said you were, you had planned this out perfectly. Maybe you were going there to just talk to him. Have a good time with him. Something got out of hand.
Even if I were there, and even if I were going there to just have a good time with him.
What if I tell you somebody saw you there? remember some of the neighbors?
Just
Who know
Dave.
you? The next door neighbor? And his wife?
I don't know his wife.
Okay. What about some of the neighbors across the street?
No, I've never met them.
No. But you've hung around there quite a bit, and they know you. Yeah, they've seen you there on that day.
I wasn't there that day.
Jodi, you were there that day.
And even if I'm trying to think, the majority of the time that I spent there, I had platinum blonde hair. So, I mean, and I've never once said hi to them, met them, shook their hand, met them face to face, crossed the street. When I spent time there, he wanted to keep it private, so it was, I spent the majority of my time inside. Not, walking around outside. Except for a few times when I took his dog for a walk.
Would they see your car there? Or would you park it down the street?
No, they would see it there. I drove an Infinity. So they would definitely recognize the car, I'm sure. Because, well, there are a lot of cars there a lot of the time.
Where's the Infinity now?
I gave it back to the bank.
To the impound yard somewhere? Are we going to find any evidence in that car?
You're free to look.
We're going to look.
You can also look in the rental car.
What company did you rent it from?
I don't remember, but I can check my debit card record. I remember the make and
No,
model.
we're waiting for it anyway. But you know all the new cars have GPSs in them.
Oh,
Factory. Not for you to
well then that's
use,
good.
but for us to use if we need to.
Well then that's good, because I was also going to ask you, I don't know if this is something that you can recall, but a lot of the stoplights in Mesa and things have cameras on them. Isn't there any way we could back that up? Or, if I were going to Phoenix, going through that tunnel, is that surveillance?
No.
Is there surveillance anywhere?
Unless you ran a red line. Unless you got caught on a speed camera. But nothing beats that stuff. And I have a solid case against you. And I can present it to the judge. As cold as it is now. I don't know why she did it. Or I can present it to the judge with your explanation. With your parents' explanation.
What do you mean
Have you
with
talked to your
parents?
parents about what happened?
I told them I was worried about stuff.
About what stuff?
I said that, well, they knew I was upset about Travis, and I feel really bad by the way I was acting, because there wasn't, especially toward my grandparents, there were a lot of times.
Why are they not surprised that you're sitting here talking to me about this?
What do you mean?
They're not surprised. They're
Probably just-
concerned.
Have
They're
you talked to
hurt.
them?
I haven't, but my other detectives have. And they're very concerned with you. But they kind of suspected that you had something to do with Travis's death as well. Whose
No.
parents think
No.
that?
That's because I told them that a lot of people were dropping my name, and I said, I'm not worried about it because I didn't do it. I said, but it's hurting my reputation right now, and it's casting me in a bad light.
I wouldn't be worrying about your reputation right now. I'd be worrying about the rest of your life. That means nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Well, my reputation will affect the rest of my life. So I am worried about my reputation.
You going to continue with the story then that you weren't in Mesa on the 4th, you weren't in Travis's house, you didn't have sex with him that day, and you had nothing to do with his murder?
Those pictures are, I don't know, to me pictures are very compelling. I know that they can be modified, I know they can be altered, and date and time stamps, I don't know, but I think they can be
I
tampered
didn't
with.
modify anything.
I don't think.
Detective, did you then continue to talk to her about whether or not she had actually been the person who had killed Mr. Alexander?
Yes, I did.
Let me show you exhibit number 360. This is a portion of the tape, or the audio videotape, where she continues to deny having killed Mr. Alexander.
Yes.
I move for the admission of exhibit number 360. And to actually have them switched, I would move 359 in, which is snippet number 13.
Any objection to 359?
And in this snippet, Detective, did you also continue to discuss the photographs, the camera, and the hair?
Yes, I did.
No objection.
359 is admitted.
You have something to tell me, but you're just so resistant. I know you're afraid, but you're already going through it right now. There's no backing up. There's no backing up to yesterday. There's no backing up to that day. It's already happened. And unfortunately, you're gonna have to face the consequences.
If I did that, I'd be fully ready to face the consequences. I'm not really for things like, I'm all for the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not kill.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? But
There's no evidence to show anybody else did that. None.
well, I'm just.
You think we'd find somebody else's fingerprint if they did that? Possibly. There's something that happens. You keep saying gloves. There's things that happen when people wear gloves. Then we can actually see that, oh, somebody wore gloves in this case. Nobody wore gloves in this case. Nobody. There's no evidence
I'm
of
just
it.
saying that if I were to carry out something like that, I would have worn gloves. I've got a
Nobody
whole
else.
box of them.
Nobody else did this. There's no evidence to show that anybody else did this, but you. You were the only one. That is it.